What is going on, everyone? I hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend ahead and some great NFL action headed our way to hopefully help you enjoy that. Here we have my Week 12 NFL picks. As many of you know, I normally post this video exclusively to my Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/thatfranchise, guys. So if you enjoy the video and you want access to it every week, you can head over to the Patreon link down below and you'll support my channel in the process. I really appreciate it. I also want to just remind you that I do have a podcast recapping every game from every week. The Week 11 recap show is up. It's on YouTube under my podcast channel, or just search Fully Inflated Football wherever you get your podcast. I know some people just follow the main channel here, so I just want to remind you that that's out and you can go find it. But let's go ahead and get into it. The betting guide to Week 12 here. And with that, my record there for the season coming onto the screen just now. For those that have not been following along on Patreon, we've done a decent enough navigating this challenging season. We're 500 exactly on my plays, which are the bets I'm making myself. So we're playing for free this year. Overall, pretty solid record, positive against the spread. Would like to get that up a little bit here into the last few weeks of the season. But 6-4 picking upsets, 13-5 on over-unders. We've been money on over-unders this year. So feeling pretty good about where we're at. Let's have another great week moving forward. So feeling pretty good about where we're at on the year, making picks. And let's make it even better here this week. So our first game, Green Bay at the Detroit Lions. The pick here is going to be the Lions victory over the Packers, 30-20. We are going to bet the over plus 47 in this game. So the Lions have won their last 4 against Joe Barry's defense, and I think that's for a good reason. Not only is it a defense that gives up a ton on the ground, and the Lions are happy to pound them up the middle against those light fronts and poor run fits that Joe Barry's defense tends to have, but even beyond that, you have a combination of quarterback and receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, who are happy to shred these soft, short and intermediate zones that this Packers defense invites. So it's been a really tough matchup for the Packers. Joe Barry has not shown that he is a defensive coordinator capable of adjusting in this division matchup. The Lions have had their number, and I don't expect that to change. Now, the Packers offense has been playing better lately with Jordan Love. Some of these young playmakers coming together a little bit more than the last time these two teams met. And I think the Lions defense has fallen off their kind of hot streak to start the season too. So I do think the Packers will score some points. I think they could keep this close. Hell, I think they could even pull the upset and spark some life into their season, but definitely would not bet on that. What I am going to bet on this is the over. I feel very confident that Detroit is going to hold up their end of the bargain, and I think the Packers will score enough to clear the 47 points there. Then we got Washington at Dallas. The pick here is going to be the Cowboys to win, but no bet in this game. Pretty straightforward here. I feel pretty good that Dallas's offense will have some success, even against a familiar division opponent there that has given him some fits, given Dak some fits in the past. And we know what this Cowboys defense is capable of, especially at home on Thanksgiving. They should be able to take care of business. But Sam Howell is a quarterback that I do think has a lot of backdoor cover potential with that 12.5 point spread. If this was 8.5, 9, maybe even 10 points, I'd feel a little bit safer with that. But that's a lot of points for a quarterback that does like to sling it, that I think even in games when his offensive line is getting beat, he extends plays and can make some stuff happen with some good playmakers. So not quite feeling the spread there, but feeling pretty good that Dallas is going to take care of business this week. Then for Thursday Night Football, the 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. This is one of my favorite bets and a play this week. We are taking the 49ers to cover the 7-point spread. The Niners have had this Seahawks team's number. Kyle Shanahan with these playmakers, I think, is going to have plenty of success against Clint Hunt's defense, even if they've got some ascending star players on that side of the ball this time around. Guys like Devon Witherspoon and Boye Mafe and the addition of Leonard Williams. Those are good additions, but I just don't think it's enough to stop this Niners offense that has just out-schemed the Seahawks here in these matchups as of late. But even beyond that, the 49ers defense has been awesome since acquiring Chase Young. And even on top of that, like in a full health meeting, I would still like the spread here, but you have very likely no Kenneth Walker in this game. I think the Seahawks are going to be forced to go to the air, which is not where you want to be against the Niners. And that's all due respect to Zach Charbonnet, but it's a different beast losing Kenneth Walker. You've got Geno playing on a short week, on a week where he was out of the game and had to have heroics coming in when he injured his throwing arm. So if he's getting hit in this game against this Niners pass rush, and I feel very confident that he will be, you've got the potential for some ugliness with that arm. And even if the arm is at full strength, I like this bet. So this is going to be one of my plays this week, is the Niners continue their dominance over the Seattle Seahawks. Betting that 7-point spread there. Then we have the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Kind of the last hoorah for the Jets in a lot of ways. They're going to have to count on their defense here against a Dolphins offense that has been slowed down a little bit more as of late. So I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup. How does Robert Saleh approach Tua here in the first meeting on the season? That is definitely a meeting of the minds, and the Jets have the defense to potentially really force some ugliness out of that Dolphins offense. That's easier said than done, though, and it's much easier said than done to score points with Tim Boyle as your quarterback behind a brutal offensive line and just not a well-designed offense in general. So even if the Jets defense has success, I still think the Dolphins carved this thing out in the end. I'm going to go 16-10 Dolphins. Wouldn't be surprised if the Jets keep this thing frisky and cover that 10-point spread and keep us relatively entertained on Black Friday. Then we've got the Jaguars at the Houston Texans. And when the schedule makers put this one at noon, week 12, they definitely did not anticipate this to be one of the games of the week, but it sure as hell is with the way CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, and this offense are playing as of late. Plus a defense under DeMeco Ryans that's really frisky, even if they have some missing pieces. They're only a 1.5-point underdog in this game at home against Jacksonville, and that feels about right to me. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. I do think the Jags are coming off a great performance in their own right, and I would probably bet that the public is going to be on Houston in this game because they are that feel-good story. I'm going to lean towards the Jags to win this one. I do think they're a step ahead of the Texans in terms of their completeness as a football team. I think they are more experienced. I think they have more playmakers. I think they have actually a better defense. The Jags defense has been playing really well this year under the radar. So I'm going to lean towards the Jags, but this is going to be much more of a fun game to watch than it is going to be to bet. Really looking forward to this one. Then we have the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Indianapolis Colts. Definitely a bit of a muddy affair. Not the most exciting teams here. Tampa's becoming a little bit harder and harder to watch each week, but I do feel pretty good about who they are. They're an offense that's going to sling it to those two playmakers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who have an advantage against the Colts corners in this game. And they're a really stout defense, especially against the run, where the Colts really like to have that baseline of the run game with Gardner Minshew. So I definitely like this matchup for the Bucks enough to actually pick them as a bet the spread pick this week, which basically operates as a half unit bet for me. So we're going to go Bucks 20-16 to take care of business here in Indianapolis, even though the Colts have been frisky and did a good job to climb to 5-5. But I think some people forget that those came against the hapless New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers. Then we have the New England Patriots at the New York Giants. A little tough to know what to do in this game because last week the Giants and Tommy DeVito specifically magically out of nowhere went from looking like USFL camp arm type quarterback where it's like literally why is this the guy that you turn to as your QB backup to last week he was making some throws and looked competent. I'm going to bet against him looking competent this week for a variety of reasons. Last week it was a lot of Brian Daboll doing a great job to scheme guys wide open. I think scheming guys wide open against a Bill Belichick defense coming off the bye week is much more challenging. And then you get into Tommy DeVito behind this offensive line trying to make drop back throws against this group. I'm going to actually bet on the Patriots this week. Offensively, they're obviously not great, but I think they can put together a game plan here off the bye week going against a blitz-heavy defense here. So we're going to go 21-13 Patriots. Actually, another bet the spread this week. Those two games right there are kind of, you submit them and close your eyes and just wish that the thinking is sound, because watching these games, it's probably not going to come easy and it's not going to look pretty. But I do think that's where the value lies there. Then we got Carolina at Tennessee. I mean, there are just some sloppy games here in the middle here. Don't need to spend too much time on this. This is two of the worst offensive lines in the league right now. Two rookie quarterbacks struggling to play behind those offensive lines, and two frisky defenses. Maybe even just beyond frisky and good defenses. So you're definitely expecting a low-scoring game here. I don't even hate the under of 37 points. But I actually am going to go with Bryce Young over Will Levis in this game. Just on a hunch, really no confidence in that at all. Both these offenses have been pretty tough to watch these last couple of weeks. But yeah, give me the Panthers to get their second win on the season. Then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Just a 1-point favorite in Cincinnati with Jake Browning stepping in as the quarterback. And I'm going to rush to grab the potential value that could be there when we see that the Bengals offense sucks without Joe Burrow. This could backfire, right? Zach Taylor could put together a good game plan. Jamar Chase could have some big plays, and the Bengals defense could carry here, right? But I would much rather make the bet that with a 1-point spread, the Pittsburgh Steelers, on a week that they fired Matt Canada, by the way, can put together enough of a game plan with those playmakers to move the ball and especially dominate on the defensive side of the ball against an offensive line that has had its struggles this year, and just getting to a backup quarterback and forcing some ugly offense out of the Cincinnati Bengals. So I like the Steelers in this one. I like them as a play and a bet the spread, really just making Jake Browning prove something, right? But then we have New Orleans at the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to go on another bet, another play here, the Atlanta Falcons, 23-21. I'm going to back Arthur Smith and the Falcons. I know, it's crazy, but coming off the bye week here at home, I think the Falcons are going to look at not just their division, but the conference and say, we have an opportunity to become a playoff team if we can just get our freaking act together. This has not been a bad football team. They've just been a sloppy football team. And can Arthur Smith look himself in the mirror a little bit with his job on the line and say, let's get Bijan roaring in the second half of the season. Let's get some targets going for Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Maybe he can, maybe he won't. But at the end of the day, I just think the Falcons offense is going to bring it. I think they'll run the ball. I think they'll have some fun stuff through the air. I don't even know who's starting at quarterback. I don't know that matters in terms of how you view the Falcons offense. But I also think the Falcons defense can hang in this game with what the Saints offensive line has been so bad. And when you can get a pass rush, they have the secondary in Atlanta to hang with these guys. So yeah, I like the Falcons to kind of have a bit of a statement win in a bit of a way to take first place in the division, which they will if they win this game. And it's not going to come easy. It's not going to be pretty, as it is with any Arthur Smith football team. But I'm going to back my gut here, taking the Falcons to win this game on that pick'em spread right there. Then we have another pick'em game, Rams at Cardinals. I am going to take the Rams. I just think they're the better team. But I definitely think Kyler Murray has spoiler potential, especially if Cooper Kupp's not playing in this game. He's currently questionable. We're not going to have information on that before this game happens. But I am picking the Rams because I think Stafford can still get things going with Puka Nacua, who should see a lot of targets if Cooper Kupp isn't out. Maybe we get Tutu kind of back into the mix here. And just defensively, Aaron Donald's going to pose problems for Arizona. But I think this is going to be fairly high scoring. I trust these offenses more than these defenses. And the over-under is only 44.5 in this game. I like that. I definitely see these quarterbacks showing off their arms in this game. Kyler showing off his legs. I've got a 27-23 Rams with a half-unit bet on the over this week. Then we have the Bills at the Philadelphia Eagles, another one of the games of the week. The Bills showing what they can do now for a second week after firing Ken Dorsey and going with Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. And the Eagles having to turn around with another tough game after going to Arrowhead. So this is definitely going to be a close game. And I think we see a lot of fireworks in this game. I mean, the Eagles offense against the Bills defense, I really like that for the Eagles. But I think Josh Allen, with this new approach of an offense, if you will, can have plenty of success against the Eagles too. So I'm going to just kind of take the coward's way out and take the home team that's favored by 3 points to win by 3 points in this game. But I think it could go either way here. And I do like the over. I like getting those, 48.5 plus points. Enjoy this game. See some great quarterbacks go at it. Get your leftovers out of the fridge and just enjoy this matchup. Then we've got Cleveland at Denver. Denver on that big, shocking winning streak. And Cleveland coming off a big win with DTR. Vegas very tight on this game, 1.5 points. I really don't have strong opinions on who ends up winning this game. I'm picturing Denver, though, continuing their ball control offense. I think if you are going to attack this Browns defense, it is through the run game, and that is how the Broncos are comfortable. So as long as they're diligent to the run game, I think they can break some off and have some chunk runs. Maybe you get some big Courtland Sutton catches down the field as he's been converting the last couple of weeks. And I do think their game plan is one that can go stride for stride with the Browns, who also are trying to win with that same game plan, this time in Denver. So, obviously the Browns defense is going to pose a very big challenge for the Broncos, but I think they can keep it rolling this week. I'm going to pick them 17-12. But again, just no confidence in that this week. Then we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, I'm taking the Chiefs to win, bounce back against the Raiders. The Chiefs have kept a lot of games closer than you would expect, as have the Raiders kept a lot of games closer than you'd expect. They've been very frisky under the interim coach, Pierce, there. So, I think Chiefs win, but the spread's probably a little bit too big with how the Chiefs offense hasn't been humming right now, though this is a week where they can get things back on track, I think, against the Raiders. Then we've got Ravens at Chargers. I'm very likely going to regret doing this, but I'm actually going to take the Chargers to win. Part of this is it just feels like every time it feels like the Chargers are completely dead, they bounce back in some bit of a way. I do think the offense looked great last week outside of the drops, which I think they can clean up. Obviously, the Ravens are a better football team than the Chargers, but a long road trip, Sunday Night Football, one last opportunity for Brandon Staley and this Chargers team to show that they have any bit of fight left in them. I'm just going to pick them and close my eyes and enjoy this game. I'm sorry, Ravens fans. I love you. I love the Ravens. They should win this game, but sometimes the NFL just happens that way. And my gut is telling me Chargers in this one. I don't really have any better analysis other than that, right? The Ravens are the more physical team. That should make a difference. Their defense is the much better defense. Both these quarterbacks are great. So, obviously, the Ravens have a very good chance to win this game. They're 3.5-point favorites for a reason. But on a whim, I'm going to take the Chargers, 27-20. Then again, Monday Night Football, Bears at Vikings. I'm going to go with my gut and pick against the 3.5-point favorite on primetime. I'm going to take the Bears with, again, just no confidence. I've got this 24-20. I think the Vikings are such a tough team to pick right now. What the hell do we get from Josh Dobbs? Does he continue to play like he did when he first stepped into Minnesota, like he first stepped into Arizona? Or is this going to be the similar story where he plays well and then they put a little bit more on his plate? You got Justin Jefferson back in the mix. You're expected to make more downfield throws. and it doesn't come together for Josh Dobbs. I really just don't know, man. And I think that's okay to just admit that. I like Josh Dobbs. I think he's fun. But what I do know is that the Bears are playing much better football in the last month, and they looked pretty solid offensively, getting Justin Fields back, who can make big plays. It's going to be, I think, a polarizing day for the Bears offense. I think you're going to get a lot of sacks. You're going to get Fields getting beat by some of these confusing blitzes. But I think with his mobility, he can buy some time and gash this defense too. I think we could see multiple, 40, 50-yard plays between Fields and DJ Moore and maybe, Darnell Mooney and company. I'm going to take the Bears to win this one 24-20. I'll be at this game, so if you see me, come say hi. Would love to see you. But that's going to be the Week 12 NFL picks. Now, before we get out of here, I'm going to highlight my underdog lineup. So I have promoted underdog in the past, and if you guys want to sign up and get in on their pick'em contest, which is definitely going to make Thanksgiving football even more enjoyable here tomorrow. But use promo code TFG when you sign up, and they'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. You'll support my channel in the process. But I'm going to take Jordan Love's higher on passing attempts, 32.5. A.J. Dillon is even questionable here, let alone Aaron Jones, who's going to miss some time here. And I just don't think the Packers are going to be able to run the ball all that successfully against Detroit. I think Green Bay is going to be trailing, and I think they're going to have to pass the ball if they want to move the ball in this matchup. So I really like that one. And then I've got a couple interceptions in the slip this week. I think Geno Smith dealing with that pass rush, as we've talked about, could be a problem. Then I've also got Dak Prescott in there. This is more of a gut feeling. I think he's due for an interception. It's almost because he's playing such great football that I like this. I can just picture it, right? Washington jumps out route early in the game, maybe a pick six, and then Dallas rolls, the rest of the game, something like that. But because also Dak is playing well, I like CeeDee Lamb to go higher in this game. Maybe this is a bad take, but I feel like the Cowboys like to highlight their star players on Thanksgiving, and I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be the focal point of their game plan here against Washington. He's been so good. He's cleared 7 receptions 2 of the last 3 weeks. Feel pretty good about that. And then Christian McCaffrey, I think, is going to be the highlight of the show for the Niners on Thursday Night Football, whether it's through the ground or through the air. I think we get a big Christian McCaffrey week this week against that Seahawks defense. So there's my underdog slip this week. Good luck if you're filling these out, whether you're going with my picks or not. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Again, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in a few days for my next video. Peace out.